Okay, so we've been talking about ghost stories, and I shared two ghost stories of my own with you guys so far. They were probably the freakiest experiences I've had, that I can at least say happened at a time in my life where I was pretty aware I was not on anything, and yeah, so Mothman figure, shadow figures, and Mount Misery, all that stuff, spooky. Uh, I don't know what they were, but I guess the next thing to talk about would be other types of hauntings, such as hauntings. I don't know if they could be called hauntings, but these strange apparitions that aren't quite ghosts. There are tons of quintessential ghost stories. A lot of things that you can read in books and all that. Hauntings, people who died. It is interesting, but I find that this whole ecosystem of strange creatures and spirits and stuff is perhaps a little bit more intriguing for me because they represent something unknown, something that doesn't quite fit into what we usually gather to be a paranormal experience. Like somebody died in the house and they haunt the living room. I don't know. They do what they used to do when they're alive or something like that. It's very odd when those things do happen. But with these strange figures like Mothman, or just seeing bizarre apparitions, I find to be very interesting. At any rate, I've been rambling for 2 minutes, so I'm going to give you one more Mount Misery story and then move on. This is very quick. It's actually sort of like a report. There's a Long Island Oddities group. That's what they're called, Long Island Oddities. They do ghost hunting. They do a lot of interesting stuff on Long Island. They check out a lot of unexplored areas, abandoned buildings, things like that. They did a investigation into the what's it called? Into Mount Misery. They took their EVP, electronic voice phenomena recorders, a lot of other things. They had walkie-talkies. They kind of split up into groups and just made measurements, tried to communicate with any spirits that were available. And interestingly enough, there was a voice that came onto the walkie-talkie as they were walking through the woods. And the interesting thing was, the whole group that split up was on the same channel, but only one person's walkie-talkie had a voice come up, and it said, "There are more of us here." And I've heard this. It's kind of spooky. It sounded like a normal voice, but I don't know. But yeah, it said, "There are more of us here." And then, interestingly enough, later on, when they were going to leave, there was a problem with one of the cars. Weird failure. It didn't work for some reason. And it's just very interesting because the walkie-talkie thing, which I just found to be very creepy. Just one walkie-talkie, and there's a whole bunch of them that were all on the same channel, but only one got the voice. There are more of us here. Okay. I've been to the area that this happened. It's kind of a spooky area. Big, tall, dark pine trees and all that, but it doesn't have much to do with what happened. I don't know. So, that was Mount Misery for you. I could go into detail about other urban myths about Mount Misery, but maybe I'll save that for another time. And they include UFOs, Men in Black. It's very strange, because everything's been pretty much... there's a story for everything in that place. At any rate, so something else, another weird ghost story. Well, here's another interesting one. Very eerie. Because, again, these are the kind of ghosts or energies or spirits that tend to be more interactive with humans. It seems to be something other than just some kind of memory or echo of the past. Instead, these things seem to be engaging us directly. And from an extreme case, something like a poltergeist, to a less extreme case, such as, I don't know, say, well, I call them mimics, and I don't know if you ever heard this, but they're not necessarily a physical entity, but they copy your voice, or they copy someone's voice that you know, or they just call out your name. I find this to be the strangest, spookiest kind of encounter you could have. Well, one of them. You're just sitting alone, and you'll just hear someone call your name. You could be completely alone, and you'll hear your name called out. As clear as day. Your body looks up. When somebody calls your name, it's just what you do. It's that instinct. Oh, and for some reason, there's no one there. I actually distinctly remember in high school, or maybe in middle school, probably middle school, I'm sitting doing homework at the dining room table. I hear someone calling my name from the side of the house, Jeremy, Jeremy, and I'm like, what? So I get up, and I look out this. I have a side door. I actually get out of the house, and I think maybe it's one of my friends wanting me to come outside. Nobody's there, and I heard it sounded like a female voice, either that or I guess some kind of a kid or something. I don't know, and nobody's there, and it just freaks me the hell out because I was home alone. So, but and then my dog, of course, starts to just bark, very angry, very defensively. That just set me off on edge. And this has happened a couple times. It even happened once when I was sitting in my high school in a crowded room. Yeah, and I thought that was the strangest thing. I heard my voice and look up. Nobody's there. Okay. But I've actually heard this happen to someone else. Someone who I've spoken to in Long Island Oddities. Someone called. All right, so this lady's this person I know is about to leave, and she's about to leave her house. Her grandmother or her mother is in the car, or maybe aunt, some kind of relative, and she gets a phone call. She answers the phone. It's that family member talking to her. She says, "Oh, what is it? What do you want?" And she's just not very talkative. She called out her name. She's just not really saying anything specific. Just kind of garbled words. And then she realizes that her aunt is in the car and doesn't have a cell phone. And then she freaks out. And as soon as she's like, who the hell is this? Hangs up. Goes outside. Asks her about that. They don't know. She doesn't know. She was like, oh, I was just sitting here. I don't know what you're talking about. I call them mimics. Mimes. They call out your voice. They sound like somebody you know. You answer them, and they don't really hold much of a conversation. But those always just give me the chills. Strange voices from the beyond. I don't know. Calling out and making voices sound like people you know. Why do they do that? What is this? I don't know. But at any rate, that's story number 3. So let me see if there's anything else I can squeeze into this video. Watch out for those mimics and those shadow figures. At least these are the sort of things that have populated my experiences, and also my friends' experiences, people I've met and been acquainted with. I guess the other weird thing maybe would be strange phone calls, in my own house, footsteps. Well, I have one good one, but I'll save that for the next part. So stay tuned, and hope you're enjoying Ghost Stories.